Alright, what's going on guys? External here. And in this video, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to play Kenshi and like how to utilize his Sento and mostly his pressure stuff as well. So, let's get on with the video. Alright, so the first thing that I want to talk about is the main buttons that you're going to be using with Kenshi with, without Sento out. So, the main buttons you're going to be using are 4-2, 1-4, back 2, 2-1. These are like the main strings that you're going to be using. Alright, let's go over 1-4 first because it's like the most simplest one. So, for beginners, standing 1 is neutral on block. This is -7. Oh, well, -6 on block. And the full string, which is 4 or 1-2, 1-4-1, it's -17. But the good thing about it is you can actually special cancel the last hit into like this move right here, which is actually pretty good, especially for Kenshi, because this has a mind game on its own on like how long you can charge it. It has 3 different stages, so right there it's -11. Charge it for a little bit longer, it's -1. But if you charge it fully, it is -9, which is actually pretty insane. But if you don't want to like charge it, then you can like amplify it and it'll become -1. The good thing about this is that I'm pretty sure the last hit actually has no gap, if I remember clearly. Yeah, this has no gap aside from maybe the third hit of the forward 1-4-1 string. So let's see that real quick. Okay. Yeah, so this has no gap in it, but if again, this actually has a gap. So it's more like reliable if you want to amplify this, but keep yourself safe because obviously you can like use that to bait out people, and also really just keep them like just keep yourself safe. Okay, so forward 2, this is probably Kenshi's like main string you're gonna be using, just because for one, it's a mid with pretty good range, 14 frame mid, and is -6 on block enough. I'm pretty sure if you space it. Never mind. Yeah, but yeah. This is gonna be the main string you're gonna be using, because you got forward 2-2, which is -7. Oh, with like -7 from this far away, yeah, you're not really gonna be doing anything. This actually has like 3 options for the ender. Yeah, the first one, which is 4-2-2-2, -9, but the last hit can be flaws blocked and is actually fully combo punishable without what's gone. Since if you flaws block the last hit, it actually gets rid of the pushback that it has. So it gets rid of that. Let's see if I can show that real quick. Just like that. It is -20 on block if they flaws block it. And then it also has an overhead option for 4-2-2 down 2. Just like that. I'm pretty sure this does have a gap, but it's actually there's no armor reversal gap. Or not, or sorry, not armor reversal. What's gone? An up block gap. Yeah. So, and also one thing to keep in mind is that this, as you maybe have just saw, the second hit actually has an armor gap in it. So let's show that real quick. Yeah. Second hit has an armor gap, so it's always good to just do 4-2 and then just like really just stagger it, because it's -6 on block with this much pushback, or if you space it out properly. So yeah, it's always good just to like throw 4-2 out in neutral. Alright, the next button that I want to talk about is back 2. Now back 2 is actually a really good button, especially since the fact that it's gonna be probably your best whiff punching button. Because one, if you do stuff like this, or even stuff like this, you can even do it off of his forward 2. And it also really helps at the fact that Kenshi actually has a really good backdash. And so you can do stuff like this. And it could be pretty tricky because, you know, again, since this is -1, you're expecting like them just to down run because they're trying to check you for like pressing after like this. But yeah, you can do stuff like this. Oops. You can do stuff like this. You can even do off his 1/4 string. Like this. So yeah, this string, or this button, is actually pretty good for whiff punching, and it also helps at the fact that this button actually is forward advancing as well, because as you can see right there, it actually advances him forward, and is also a mid, which is pretty good in itself. Again, 12 frame mid with a pretty big hitbox. So yeah, again, this is gonna be like pretty much your one of your main whiff punching buttons, because it's pretty quick, and again, it has like this really big hitbox, and it's also safe on block at -4. But which you probably already saw if you space it out properly, it's actually -2. So let's say if they're gonna like press after this, right? You could do something like that. It is pretty risky because obviously Sub-Zero freeze is pretty minus on block, -17 right there. But the reward that you get from it is actually going to be really big, since the fact that you're able to get a freeze and a full combo out, and Sento out, which I'm going to be talking about him a bit later in the video. Alright, so now the next topic that I want to talk about is the main buttons that you're going to be using in Sento stands. So let me just move from out of the frame real quick. Okay, so for one, Kenshi actually gets different buttons when he's in the stands, and some main buttons that I do want to cover over real quick are going to be forward 4, forward 2, forward 1, back 2, and also his sweep. So real quick, let me just set this up real quick, just so I don't have to like keep on like calling out Sento. Okay. So forward 1, really good high, which as you can see right here, it's just a crazy button, insane reach, 11 frames on startup, and it is a high, but again, the amount of reach that this has is pretty nuts, as you can see from right here. Like from max range, this is like max range right here. It's pretty crazy. So this has a different, this is a string, so you got forward 1/1, which is -6 on block. And also to keep in mind, forward 1 is actually a stagger, since as you can see right there, it is -3. Forward 1/1, -6. Somewhat of a stagger, since what's got this second hit is actually pretty slow. And I'm pretty sure this actually has a gap, if I remember. So let's see. Yeah, it does have a gap. Alright. So again, it's gonna be like one of your like whiff punching buttons, because again, this thing just has so much range. One thing I actually forgot to mention is you can hit confirm this into his X Rising Karma, or at least this, and you can actually get a full combo. And in this version, if he doesn't have Sento, the damage that he gets in this is actually pretty low and also pretty limited on what he can do. So I can see right there, like that baby combo did like around like I believe 26% or 22%. But also keep in mind, you can actually call Sub-Zero during that, and you can actually recall him back. So that's one good thing. Alright, the next button I want to talk about is forward 2. This is going to be like your go-to mid, because it is 11 frames on startup. It is actually somewhat of a stagger. -7. Second hit, -4. And if you do the full string, you're kind of asking to get punished because it is -15. And also, one thing to keep in mind is don't always go for the full string because this actually has a gap in it. So let me just show that real quick. Just like that. And the full string actually has a gap to second, or this, and also, let me see if I can space it. And also that's a full gap. So, like, you can do stuff like this, but, like, it's not really worth it because, again, it still has a gap in it. And also, again, somewhat like the the forward 1 string, it is inconfirmable. And again, you can go into your Sub-Zero and then call him back, and just getting the whole process starting. And again, same thing with like the what's called the forward 2-2 string, and his like non-Sento stance. The reward that you get after it is actually really big if you call it Sento out. So you can do stuff. So you can either go into this, or you can just go straight into a Sub-Zero, which is, again, like, just really big for Kenshi, because the whole gameplay with him is to pretty much just get Sento out. Alright, so the next button I want to talk about is forward 4. This button is actually really helpful for Kenshi, especially in this stance, because as you can see on block, it is +1, which means that it is your turn, so you can do stuff like this. And since this actually somewhat has a mind game on it, because you can do stuff like this or just loop it again, because like if you're like late with your down 1, this will catch you like trying to press your down 1, or like trying to take your turn back. But if you know that they're gonna press, you can just down 1 yourself. And it's not really like it's not really like, you're not really giving up your turn, because at most they're just gonna be like either down 1 you back or punishing your down 1 with their down 1. So again, this button is actually really helpful, especially in this stance, because this stance doesn't really have any plus frames aside from like 1 string, which you guys already saw. Oh yeah, this is actually really helpful. And the beginning, the first hit is a mid, so they cannot duck it, and this has no gap in it. So again, just a really helpful button that he has in this stance. Alright, so the next string that I do want to talk about is 2-1. This string is actually pretty helpful for him, because for one, the full string is +1, and also just the beginning string, or not the beginning string, the beginning button, which is just 2, is +3 on block. So you could do stuff like this, or oops, you could do this, you could do this, or you can even do this, which again, you're pretty much just keeping your turn with this, and with 2-1 and also a forward 4. So I'm pretty sure this actually does have a gap. So let me see real quick, because I actually don't remember. Okay, I was wrong. This actually does not have a gap. a gap. So again, you could just do stuff like this, and so you could. It's a lot of like what's it, the Fort 4, like little mini mind game. You could do stuff like this. So like, let's not have them do that. So you could do stuff like this. Again, you can try to catch them down winning. I mean, it does whiff because of all the pushback that the second hit has, so you kind of do have to wait a bit, so you can't just like space it. You can do stuff like that, or you can go into forward 4. And again, these buttons are really just helpful for him because aside from like these two, he doesn't really have anything that like keeps his turn. I mean, they're all, his other buttons are safe, but they're mostly just like at least minus, or they're just barely minus enough that they just give he just gives up his turn. So it is good that he has these two buttons that are plus. Alright, so the last buttons that I actually do want to cover are, again, there are going to be 3 buttons that I want to cover on this one because they're pretty much like his mix-ups, and you probably already saw them in one of the buttons that I covered already. They are back 2, back 1, and also his sweep, which is back 4. Alright, so the first one that I want to talk about is back 2. It is minus 13 on blank, but it is pretty much unreactable at 16 frames. Like, no one is going to be reacting to this, especially online. Heck, even offline, because like it is really hard to react to this because, again, 16 frames is, I'm pretty sure, just unreactable, especially to like the human brain, not the human brain, the human eye. And the next one that I do want to talk about is back 1. This is actually oh, oops, I almost forgot to talk about. I actually just reminded myself. If you do have Sento out, you can actually keep all your mix-ups safe with Sento's 2 button. Oops. So yeah, that is one thing to keep in mind, that Sento can keep like all your unsafe stuff like pseudo safe. So this being at minus 13, if you call Sento out, it can be safe. Again, let's talk about this button first, and then I can talk about the rest. So back 1, minus 5, and is a low, 13 frames to startup. It does have a second hit on it, but it is fully punishable, and to keep in mind is also a launcher on block. And the second hit, or not the second hit, his back 2 is technically a knockdown, but if you do have Sento out, it is a full combo punish, or not a full combo push, a full combo starter. So you can already see where like this is gonna be going, because because he does have like pretty much a 50-50, especially with Sento out, because this, if you block this is safe. If you block the overhead, it is also safe. But if you get hit by the overhead, it is a full combo starter. And if you get hit by the low, it is also a full combo starter. So pretty much that's like really what makes Kenshi scary, especially when he has Sento out. Just the fact that he can keep both his low and his overhead safe, while also somewhat keeping his turn as well, because it is kind of hard to press after Sento when he has him out. And also, the last button I do want to talk about is his sweep. 15 frames on startup. So again, his overhead 16 frames on startup, and his sweep is 15 frames. So a 1 frame difference And one thing to keep in mind is they both have like almost the same animation startup. So you can see that he like turns around in his overhead, and he also turns around in his sweep. So again, it is pretty hard to keep, or not pretty hard. It's pretty much unreactable. Well, especially the overhead, because no one is like not really gonna be like stand blocking against his character, because he has, again, like he has a sweep and his back one in this stance. And also one thing to keep in mind, his sweep is -4 on block. So instead of going for this, you can actually do just a sweep and you keep your turn still. So yeah, that is like pretty much his like two main mix-ups that you're going to be getting off of Sento. Alright, now let's get on with like the main portion of the video, which is going to be covering Sento. So okay, so this beginning part, I'm going to be teaching you how to what's kind of like the basic level of Sento. So one thing to also keep in mind before I cover this, when you call out Sento moves first. So let's just do this. I'm probably gonna do like a little slow-mo here. Because again, like Sento moves first, so as you can see, he dashed up first, and I like just moved after he dashed, just like that. So one basic way of controlling Sento is if you hold your cameo button, like if you just hold your cameo button, he stays there, and I can like move freely. Like I can jump backwards, I could dash, like I could do anything. I could do pretty much anything if I hold down my cameo button. So like for example, this like if I keep holding my cameo button, he is just sticking there, like he is not moving at all. But if I hold my block button without holding the cameo button, he moves himself. So that is one thing to keep in mind, because especially during these combos, you're gonna be having to hold your cameo button, especially for some combos, which I'm gonna be showing later in the video. So that is like one thing to keep in mind with Sento, and like especially with Sento like himself, because it will take some time like learning how to like move freely without Sento like following you along. And it is also important to like get comfortable while moving like this, while also like holding down your Sento down. Like you can move like this, but it is like just a bit harder, because obviously it's gonna mess up like some inputs with Sento. So yeah, now that I covered like the basic like level of like moving Sento with and without him, let's get on with how to actually use him. Alright, so the first button that I want to talk about with Sento is standing one. Oof, sorry. So nothing too special, just like a little bonk. It is pretty annoying, especially one thing you can do is, I don't know if I already covered it, or yes, I did cover it. So you can do stuff like something like that, and it's pretty much still your turn. They can armor after this, but again, like if they have no meter, or like if you time the Sento differently, it's like that, this actually has no gap. But if you do like if you do it like that, that still has no, or not still has no gap. It doesn't have a gap, because again, this is -13, so it does get rid of some of the frames that this has on its on its like block stun. So yeah. All right. The next one that I do want to talk about is 2. This one is pretty annoying, especially if you're sandwiched together, because let me do like a quick example. Because you could do stuff like this, and yeah, if you actually time it, it could be pretty annoying because like you just have to constantly guess the 50-50s. Also, one thing to keep in mind, this does have a gap in it. So for example, let me show you real quick. As you can see right there, it does have a gap. So that is one thing to keep in mind, especially when you're doing like your cento stuff or like your cento pressure. Just keep in mind that this has some, or this does have a gap in it. Also, oops. You can do stuff like this, and it is kind of hard to call it out because you do have to be pretty quick with it. So you could, you could do stuff like that, or you could do stuff like this. And I'm pretty sure even the overhead. Oops. Yeah. So that is one thing that is like kind of gross with him. But yeah, the next button I do want to talk about is Cento. I'm just gonna call it Cento 3. So Cento 3, it is slow on startup, as you can see right there, 21 frames on startup. Now the cool thing about this is if this does land, it is a full launcher and is like pretty much completely safe on block. So like so like one beginning thing that you can do is something like this, which is actually gonna be his like main bread and butter with the Cento out. But yeah, combos that buttons that just like completely knock down, so like this, they now become a full combo starter. Or even with oops, I don't know why I switched corner or switch sides. Even like this, if I'm good at the game, I can time it. Something like that can be like a full, like pretty much a safe a safe launcher, because again, if you're in this stance and you block the low, it is -12 on block. But if you do something like this, then it's actually like pretty much safe. And also, the last one I do want to talk about is Cento 4. This one is like really I would say like the most underrated one, because for starters, this does have a gap, but it's until the last hit. So you could do stuff like same thing with like the with Cento 2. If you're quick enough, you can actually do stuff like that, and it will cover the gap, or in other words, like break the armor. So like that. And also, one thing to also keep in mind is you can actually get, let me go to the corner real quick because it is easier. If they happen to block this, all of that was true, because for one, if I do this, and if you see me like do stand 1 after the 2 hits, that actually gets rid of the armor gap. So for example, let me see if let me just show like a quick example. So as you can see right there, like even if I messed it up, it actually still broke his armor. But yeah, again, if you saw in the beginning, that actually completely takes away the armor gap that has in it, making it actually like really scary because you don't know when he's gonna like end the what's called the infinite. And also one thing to keep in mind, all that you can actually blah is that it does like a lot of chip damage. Let's just see if you know what, never mind. Okay, I can't do it right now. But yeah, you can lose like serious chip damage to it because again, like Sento combined with like your buttons on also combined with what's gonna combining with that you cave and that what's called standing one actually takes away the armor gap is actually really scary. So yeah, those are all the main buttons that I wanted to cover. Now let's get on with the next topic.